morning. This morning I want to read you a story from the Bible. Just before this story starts, Jesus was in a big crowd teaching a lot of people, and he fed a whole bunch of people. And then the story starts. Right then, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead to the other side of the lake while he dismissed the crowds. When he sent them away, he went up to a mountain by himself to pray. Evening came and he was alone. Meanwhile, the boat, fighting a strong headwind, was being battered by the waves and was already far away from the land. Very early in the morning, he came to his disciples walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified and said, "It's a ghost!" They were so frightened they screamed. Just then, Jesus spoke to them. "Be encouraged, it's me, don't be afraid." Peter replied, "Lord, if it's you, order me to come to you on the water." And Jesus said, "Come." Then Peter got out of the boat and was walking on the water toward Jesus. But when Peter saw the strong wind, he became frightened, and he began to sink, and he shouted, "Lord, rescue me!" Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him, saying, "You man of weak faith, why did you begin to have doubts?" When they got into the boat, the wind settled down. Then those in the boat worshiped Jesus and said, "You must be God's son." And that's the word of the Lord. Usually when I tell this story, I think that Jesus doing a miracle and walking on the water, that's the most important part. And sometimes I think that Peter, who's trying to do his best to be like Jesus and doesn't quite get it right, but then Jesus helps him out. Sometimes I think that's the most important part. And those are really interesting parts. But when I read the story today, I noticed that Jesus left the big crowd and went to be by himself to pray, because he thought that was really important. I've been alone a lot the last few months. I miss seeing my friends in person, but right now it's important for me to stay away from most of my friends and even some of my family so that people who are healthy can stay healthy and that people who are sick can get better. But I trust that soon we'll be able to come back to church safely. Until then, I hope you'll be safe and happy. Maybe it'll help you to remember that even Jesus needed to be alone sometimes, but then he got to meet up with his friends in the boat.